What's up, y'all? It's your girl J Renee with Prison Ride Radio. I hope that you're doing well. This evening, I got a brother on the phone by the name of Edward Brown. He wants to talk about his case. Okay, it has some twists and turns that he wants the public to be made aware of, and I'm going to give him an opportunity to talk to y'all about it. We do have a petition that's active for him. I'll make sure that I include that link. So let's jump right in there. All right. Thanks for pulling up on us, bro, to tell us what's going on with you. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I've been in prison for over 24 years, locked up straight. I've lost 15 family members, and my mom's real sick and she's old and she needs me out there to help her, you know what I mean? And I've filed many petitions in the court and I've asked, I told them that I was very sorry. Mm-hmm. They sentenced me to the maximum on all. So I pled guilty. I took a plea bargain for 41 years with 85%, but I was coerced into taking that plea bargain by the lawyer who has since been disbarred, didn't talk to it. And he told me if I didn't take that deal, that I would probably be given life in prison, that the district attorney was going to see to it that I got life in prison. He goes, better take this deal. So I took the deal.
Right.
So now, and then the next.
And how old were you when this happened?
I was 19 years old when I did what I did. Mm-hmm. And but I didn't take the deal until I was almost 21, because I was in the county jail for almost 2 years.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about what happened by your own words. Tell us what happened that day.
Okay, basically, I had been up for about almost 2 weeks because I was doing a mess with my friend Danny, and I was staying at his house because, I was having family problems and stuff with my pops, and I couldn't live there, so I was kind of homeless. And so I was staying a few days at my friend Danny's house so I could rest and stuff. And we were getting high. So I was coming down off the med, and I decided I would drink to try to help myself go to sleep quicker because I was really tired. You know what I mean? So anyway, I kind of I just remember waking up with lots of energy. And I grabbed my gun, and I decided that I was gonna go kill myself because, I was having problems with my dad and stuff, and some stuff from my past when I was growing up, and being all messed up and strung out like that the way I was, I wanted to end my life. So I decided I was gonna get my friend's shotgun. I put it in a sleeping bag to conceal it, and I called a taxi to come pick me up. The taxi gets there, and I go outside, and I get into the cab, and we drive away. And he hasn't said nothing to me at that point yet, but once we pull out of the parking lot, he asks me where I want to go, and I tell him. So as we're driving, I said to him, take me, what if I don't have no money to pay for the ride? So then he pulls over and stops. And he says, then if you don't have the money, you have to get out. And he goes to look at me. And as we were pulling over, I pulled the shotgun out. And I didn't really know that it was loaded at the time because I thought all the shells were in my pocket that I had. I wasn't wanting to shoot him, but this is, okay, let me keep going. So anyway, I pointed the gun at him as he turned his head, and then I said, take me where I want to go, and when we get there, I'll decide whether or not to rob you. So he grabs his money bag real fast, and he grabs the handle of the door, and he opens it, and he jumps out. He goes to jump out of the car, and as he's jumping out, I kind of thought he was reaching for my gun because I was really super drunk. I was blitzed, and I had been up for 7 or 8 days straight, and so I was and he kind of knew it though. I knew that he knew I was whacked. I was blown. And anyway, as he's jumping out of the car, I pulled the gun back and I squeezed the trigger as I was pulling it, and I just I clipped him in the back of his right shoulder with 410 buckshot shells from a 12 gauge dove hunting shotgun, like a bolt action gun. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like a souped up shotgun. It was kind of just like a hunting gun, and I shouldn't have had it. I know that, but moving on. So he then screams, and he went and drops his money right there by the door of the cab where he had just got out of, and he took off running. So then I get out of the car, and I run after him for a little ways, but I was so drunk and wasted I could barely walk. So then I went back to the cab, and his money, I never even seen it, but I left it right where he dropped it. So I got into the cab, and I drove away. As I'm driving, I take a right at the stoplight when I start to drive away, and I get to this three-way stop sign where you have to stop or turn left or keep going forward. And on the right-hand side is a large, like a baseball field and a basketball court, and it's like a big park that's all outside. So I run into that park because when I was going forward down the road, I tried to turn left at like 50 miles an hour, and I went through a stop sign and into a house and through a fence and into the front yard. So then I jumped out of the cab, and I grabbed the gun, and I ran into the park, and then I walked into this field where there was lots of grass, and there was like this big concrete culvert, like a pipe thing that they put underneath bridges so water can go through them. It was outside, and it was in that field. So I ran into the field, and I climbed inside of that. And then I'm thinking, man, did that really just happen? What the hell, you know? And so then I hear the cops and stuff. So then I'm thinking the only way for me to kill myself now is to have the cops shoot me. So then I get out of I crawl out of that big pipe thing, and I start walking towards the cops. And as I'm walking at them, they see me, and I start screaming at them, "F you, pigs! If you don't shoot me, I'm gonna shoot you." So they shot me, and they I took 2 bullets in my right hand, and then 2 more bullets in my right wrist, and then I took 3 bullets in my upper arm and 1 in the side of my head, right by my right eye, from the 12 gauge shotgun that the cops had in their car. So then the cops come over, like they ran over there, and they start beating the dog crap out of me. They cuffed me up, and they had as they're beating me up and stuff, they knocked me out. So the last thing I remember was I was really messed up. I was cuffed, and they opened the back seat of one of the cop cars, and they threw me in there, and I was knocked out all the way from that point until the hospital. And then I woke up the next day, and I was like, man, what happened? You know, what was going on? And the cop explained to me what I really did, and I kind of thought I was dreaming, you know what I mean, because of how drunk I was. And you know what I mean? I was going through some family stuff and some problems with like mental stuff. Like I was kind of hearing voices that night, you know, telling me to kill myself. They're like, and plus I had a girlfriend that I used to we were dating, and she broke up with me. So I had a few things going on that was just adding to it. And I think because I had done so much drugs that it was like intensifying those emotions. You know what I mean? And I couldn't control myself. So I was like, man, I just want to end my life. I can't. This feeling, you know what I mean? And that's how I really was that night. And that's basically what happened.
Yeah,
that's the 100% truth right there.
You know that being up for days at a time can mess with people's mental health. Methamphetamines definitely affects people and how they deal with the world and see the world, you know.
It truly does.
So you definitely had a lot going on, you know. Let me ask you this. I know from what I heard, the cab driver has made a statement about everything that happened. Is that true?
I actually have it right here. I can read it for you if you like.
Yeah.
But I would also like to point out real quick that they talked me into pleading guilty to 3 crimes that I did not do. See, I didn't kidnap him because I didn't pull the gun on him until we were stopped. And then
Okay.
when I told him to take me where we want to go, he jumped out of the car and ran, and I shot him as he took off. So I
Okay.
didn't move him against his will at all, because I didn't pull the gun on him until after we were stopped. And in the police report, it says that I took him at gunpoint right from the gate, and I didn't.
Okay.
That's the number one thing that's the truth. Because the way I told it to you is exactly how it happened. So then I pled guilty to assaulting a peace officer with a firearm. I didn't hurt any officers with my gun at all. I just pointed it at him, and it had the same shell.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
It had the same shell that I shot Mr. Bard with was still in it, and it was empty. So I just pointed it in their direction, and then I never touched his money. They found his money where he dropped it, right there. And I pled guilty to first-degree robbery, and they sentenced me to like 5 enhancements on all that stuff.
Okay.
And I fall under like a few laws. I fall under a few sentencing laws that they're refusing to honor and re-sentence me to either immediate release or take a whole bunch of time off. Let me read the letter real quick. I got it right here.
Go ahead and read the letter.
Okay, this is the letter that Mr. Gregory Bard wrote to my last parole hearing, because I fall under Prop 57, which is like a youth offender law for, I think it's 25 to 18, and then there's the other one that's like 18 or lower, but I fall under the 57. So I get to go to a parole hearing like every few years, but they denied me twice already. Okay, thank you for listening. It says, hold on, not dear, but, yeah, okay. This is a formal written statement concerning the upcoming parole hearing for Mr. Edward Brown. I am Gregory James Bard, the only physical victim of Mr. Brown from the incident in the year 2000. In which he was charged with a crime and sentenced to 43 years in prison. I am writing to strongly insist and demand, based on whatever moral, political, and legal authority and influence I have, that he be released immediately. At that time, I was shot by Mr. Brown in the back of my right shoulder with a sawed-off shotgun loaded with birdshot. I was taken to Inlow Hospital and had surgery to remove the fragments and released within about 36 hours. I was shot on Sunday morning, and I recovered sufficiently to be able to go back to work on the next Friday. From the moment of the beginning of the incident up to this day, some 21 years later, I would describe the worst of it. I can say that at no point did I suffer any very sharp pain. I would describe the worst of it as severe discomfort.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
So basically what he's saying right there in that first paragraph is that from the beginning up till now, the worst of it has been severe discomfort, but not any severe pain. Not even when I shot him, I think he didn't even say it was that bad. This includes the moment of getting shot, the process of the surgery, the recovery process of about a week, and the continuous period up to today. So you see what I'm saying? At the time, I was a little puzzled at the fact that I was not in very much pain at all. So I asked the medical personnel if I would experience any pain later in life. And they correctly told me that no, I would feel no pain now, i.e. then, and on a and later on it would be as if it never happened. This is basically what has happened. I feel no serious pain or discomfort today. I also enjoy the full range of motion in my arm without any serious limitations, period. So basically, he's saying, I know that I should not have shot him, and I feel terrible. And I always agreed that I should have been punished. I felt really bad about it. I did. And up to this day, I told the parole board to tell him, hey, man, I'm very, very sorry. I tried to write him letters, but they won't let me contact him. My mom has tried to contact him. Like, they won't let me talk. They think I would never, ever try to hurt him again. No way. And I didn't want to hurt him that night either. I really didn't. It's just that, I was really drunk, and for some reason I told him, I didn't have the money to pay for the ride, and I should have just got out and walked, and anyway, let me finish up the letter. And when I tell the story of this incident, people all have the same reaction. 43 years is way too long in sentence for a person who did this at the age of 19. I strongly agree with this statement, and I am asking the parole authority to approve his release at this time. I feel this as a matter of principle, and without any regard to whatever history has unfolded since the incident. That is to say that I don't feel that any judgment by the parole authority about just how reformed, rehabilitated, penitent, or contrite he is after this long and term inside the penal system is relevant anymore, if it ever was. It doesn't seem to me that the criminal justice system is sufficiently concerned with doing what it needs to do in this regard, so there is no crying about it at this point. His continued incarceration would be gratuitous at this point. So basically, he wanted me to be released at this parole hearing, and they wouldn't do it. At the time, I was not called as a witness. So see, they didn't even call him as a witness to any of the stuff that was going on in the court. As I had my back to him and could not reliably testify that it was not an accident. You know what I mean? Because the way he had jumped out of the car, I go, man, I thought he was reaching for the gun. I just pulled it back, and my shoulder hit the back. And because he knew I was so drunk, man, I really was. This is the fair-minded truth. I do not know the fact or intention of that moment with any certainty. Apparently, Mr. Brown was charged with a crime related to his actions when the police arrived, and I was not a witness to those events. I understand that whatever unfolded resulted in Mr. Brown himself being shot by police. Having not been present, I can only speculate on his actions at this point. But if I am correct about the facts, he did not discharge his firearm, and I have the same. He's saying that the fact is I did not shoot at the cops. I have the same fair-minded position about that part of the incident as the part for which I was present. That it absolutely is possible that he had no intention to do any further harm. It seems that you are at least as fair-minded about it as I am. But they're so not. Like, the cops do not like me, and for some reason. Well, I know why. It's because of my behavior at the county jail. It's like they're still trying to punish me because I got in a whole bunch of trouble at the county jail. And they're pissed off over that more than me actually shooting this guy. Mm. They're pissed off at me talking shit to the police because I got into it with the cops in here. I've been in 4 stun straps. I've been pepper sprayed 4 or 5 times. I've bumped heads with them and with other inmates. So it's like I'm not like a sissy boy in here. Like I kind of, you know what I mean? And it isn't, being incarcerated is not a soft place. We're not all up in here cuddling and singing songs together. You know what I mean? And the cops treat us like shit a lot in here. And they lie, and they do fucked up, they do messed up stuff in here too. Sorry for cussing. Yeah. I understand that he had been up for parole about 3 years ago. and I regret not trying harder to secure his release at that time. This fact always weighs on me, so please do not fail to do the right thing at this time. There are many people who are part of my life who did harm to me in various ways. I have known psychopaths, spoiled monsters, and idiots who did things to me that ended up seriously impacting my life in a negative way. Very few, if any, suffered any negative consequences as a result of their actions towards me. So what he's saying is that there are people in his life who did worse things to him than what I did, and they haven't suffered any punishment at all for it. A little bit left. I certainly never had the support of the law or any government institutions in the form of force or expression in any of those situations. We don't live in a world that makes sense much of the time. I never felt any anger toward Mr. Brown, not from even the beginning, and not even to this day. I would count him as extremely low from even the beginning, and not even to this day. I would count him as extremely low on the list of people who deserve to be brought to justice for the impact they have had on my life. I just don't think of him that way. My primary thoughts of Mr. Brown are sympathetic. I wish him well and hope he has good luck getting back whatever life he has had taken from him. I think he suffered much worse than he deserved a long time ago. Please do the right thing and release him now that you have the power to do so. Thank you for considering my statement. I wish the parole authority well. Your job is not always a pleasant one. I hope you are able to have a good experience in restoring Mr. Brown to his freedom at this time. Great Bart. That's it.